All right, let's get started here. Apologies for starting a couple minutes late. This time, some of my morning activities. It's a little bit of a crazy day for me personally. So, some stuff going on. So, all right, I want to get started here. Have a few things to mention up front. Let's see. So, first of all, this seems to have caught on. So, if you're Arweaver into Arweave, put an elephant in your profile. That's the I don't know, probably my most viral tweet ever, which kind of amuses me. But yeah, there's no rules here about like how into Arweave you have to be. If you like Arweave and want to support the project, put an elephant in there. This stuff seems a little silly sometimes. Seems a little silly to me sometimes too. But I think it actually does matter quite a bit. People see these things and they're like, "What is that?" They look into it. They see it's associated with Arweave, helps draw more attention to the project, and it helps show how many people are into it. There's tons of people who I've seen with elephants now. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that person was into Arweave. Cool. So kind of silly, but I think this stuff actually does matter for promoting the community around Arweave and kind of representing the project out in the social media world. Let's see, what else? So, just want to mention my stream schedule too. So going into the holidays, I just expect to be a little more busy, distracted. So I'm going to try to do these, roughly every 2 weeks at least, but there's probably going to be some interruptions here or there. So just be aware of that. That's kind of expected this time of year. So one other thing I'll mention, I haven't really put this out there widely yet. I think I'll just mention it on the stream. There's other things I want to do before I put it out more broadly, but I do have a Patreon now. So if you find these streams valuable and want to support this in some monetary way, feel free to back me on Patreon. I'll just share this in the chat and put it in the description too. Clearly no obligation there or anything, but if you do feel like supporting these, some people have asked about that, go for it on Patreon. I'll probably have other ways to support this in the future too. I'm going to hold off on putting this out there more widely until I have some more value to provide, because I feel a little bit weird putting it out there for just the videos, but people are interested. So if you want to support the project that way, have at it. All right, so I think that's all the preliminaries. Let me see here. So, yeah, let me go back to Twitter for a second. Yeah, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to try to see if I can add Arweave URL support to LogSeq. From looking at the code, this looks pretty doable to me. And I think I got the dev environment working yesterday, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to give it a shot. And there's some other things we'll do if we have time to show some of the changes I've made to my XTDB Arweave data indexer, possibly play with some XTDB rules. In all honesty, I'd be a little surprised if we got to that. But, if we get through this LogSeq stuff quickly, maybe we will. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention about the plan for this stream. So let's get into it. I guess before I do that, before I get into the code, I should just go back and explain what LogSeq is. So LogSeq is in this category of the broad category of tools for thought. Basically, software tools that try to help people structure their ideas, share them, collaborate on them. I would say it's within it's a very broad category of things. Lots of things fall into that. You could argue, spreadsheets are one of the really classic tools for thought, like one of the originals. One of the originals of the computer age. I mean, you can argue that like writing is a tool for thought. But anyway, it's a very broad category. Within that broad category, there's note-taking tools. Within the note-taking tools space, there's things like Rome Research, was sort of the original. It's always hard to say original. It's the original of the latest batch of these kinds of tools. There's other tools that are vaguely like this too, but there's sort of a fresh batch of them. Rome Research came out, and there's been various other tools that have taken inspiration from that. LogSeq is the one I happen to like to use because it stores all your data locally, and that's important to me, and it's also open source, and both of those things matter to me a lot personally. But LogSeq, Athens Research, Rome Research, I think they're all pretty good tools, and what they are is basically outliners with, as I'm saying this stuff, it's like hard to say things that are not going to really annoy a user of one of these community tools. But anyway, they're outliners that support hyperlinking between all the notes, and they have varying degrees of supporting block structure within them. So you can like take individual. I should maybe do some stuff while I'm talking about this. So outline. Two B's. So it's outliner. You can put a hyperlink. If I click on this link, it's going to go to the D page. I go back there. You can see on the D page it has back references, so it tells you what linked to it. And then another feature of all these, that most of these have to varying degrees, is like block addressability. So you could say, I could reference this block directly. Now, LogSeq being a file-based tool, it's kind of faking it to some degree. I personally think that's fine, and I actually think it may be a long-term advantage. I think worse is better tools, which sort of means sort of the simpler or easier but like slightly more crufty way to implement things often ends up winning. We'll see how it plays out, but anyway, most of them support this to some degree. So block addressability is a big thing in these, and they do it different ways. Like I said, LogSeq does it with files and sort of fudges the block nature of it a little bit. Some of the other ones are not file backed, and they have more of a database, and they're really directly structuring things in the database as blocks. There's trade-offs around both of those approaches. I like this one. Other people like other approaches. I think it's good to have multiple approaches. Hopefully that spiel has not unduly annoyed anyone who uses other tools or anything of that nature. So that gives a little context of what LogSeq is. Hopefully that makes sense for people who are new to this space. So if you've watched my other videos about sort of Arweave as a substrate for tools for thought, I'm really interested in getting some of these tools to use Arweave to back them or integrate with them. And one really easy way to do that would just be to have support for Arweave URLs. So we could do something like, this is all essentially Markdown based. LogSeq supports both org mode and Markdown files. So we could have something like my Arweave thing. I'm realizing as I'm doing this, I should have grabbed a link early on to link to an Arweave. But anyway, and then you have a transaction ID here, which would be an actual transaction ID and not that garbage. But if I click on this, it's not going to do anything because LogSeq doesn't know how to handle these files, these URLs, but it could know, right? And I believe that once you implement this, once you implement this for links, it probably would work for images too, so you could actually start embedding things. And that was actually one of the steps I called out in my, what can tools for thought communities easily do to integrate with Arweave. So this is one of the things. We'll see how easy it is to implement. I'm going to give it a shot. And once you get this working too, you can start to do a lot of other things on top of it. So this is a transaction ID. You could start to have something on the other side of this. It's like an addressing scheme. So I don't know what it would be. I'm just going to, don't copy this please, but you have something like XPath, and an expression in there, oh man, I can't XPath off the top of my head. I don't know if this is valid, but thing dot other thing dot, whatever, valid XPath. Please don't copy that. That was completely off the cuff. So think about your URL schemes more. But anyway, what you could do is start to address parts of things, and that becomes really interesting for embedding things off the permaweb. And this starts out as a way to quickly hyperlink things to permanent content, but before you know it, I think if you go down this path, you're starting to grow a whole web of hyperlinked things and embedded things on the permaweb. So I think that would be super cool, and I think this is a very attractive way to do it because I can hopefully build this and I can use it. Maybe the next thing along this path would be make a LogSeq plugin for embedding stuff, other kinds of content from Arweave. And then the next thing might be, okay, well now you have all this embedding. Why don't you just publish some of these pages, excuse me, onto Arweave? So anyway, just rambling a bit there on where this is going, but I hope that is a somewhat compelling picture. Okay, so I did prep for this a bit. I have LogSeq all checked out. I ran into one little issue. So if you do, let's see, I am not like a super awesome JavaScript developer. I mostly do ClojureScript, and some of the JavaScript tooling isn't. Yeah, I can use it, but I'm not super proficient. But anyway, I ran into a problem in the LogSeq documentation. It says do yarn watch. When I did this, I kept getting having my my node VM, the V8 VM in there, kept hitting memory limits. I don't know. I didn't try to dig into it too much. It seemed like perhaps it was getting in some sort of loop, but I'm really not sure. So what I did find out though is that, so if you just look at the package, package.json. Oh, I'm not in the right place. Yeah, so you can see what all the commands do. So watch is just running this run p gulp watch, cljs watch. What I did was I just did yarn cljs watch. And what was the other one? Gulp watch, yeah, yarn, strong pool, LogSeq. This isn't really part of strong pool, but that's just where I dumped it last night. Okay, so run that. That's going to be compiling the ClojureScript. Then run this. I should probably, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make a testing directory so I'm not playing with real notes. Open notes. Really? Didn't I just? Oh. There we go. Okay. All right, so fresh notes here so I don't show anything I don't intend or mess anything up. Okay, so now let me go to the LogSeq Git repo too. So I did dump that in there. Okay. Yeah, and feel free to ask questions during this. I am not always super consistent about checking my chat, but I will try to do that periodically. So okay, so now in theory, if I go to this URL, which is, all of this is pretty much described in the LogSeq documentation. Oh, let me check my audio too. Yeah, it looks okay. Oof, stale output, really? Okay, let's see what's going on. Build complete. Okay, just doing another sync static. This is actually where it gets hung. Let me try, I'll do this. starting. So that one worked okay. Yeah, I'll have to dig into why it gets hung sometimes. And this one could have been okay too if I left it going, but whatever. I have a kind of strange development environment. I run NixOS, so it's possible that's related. Okay, so now it seems okay. It's not saying that Shadow, it's using stale stuff. Okay, so that is in the browser. I think to make this work, though, you can't just add a new URL hook to the browser, for security reasons. But we should be able to do this for electrons. So now if I run, yeah, that's also showing some of the weirdness of my development environment. So Steam run yarn dev electron app. So if I do this, the Steam run thing is just NixOS stuff. Don't think about it too much. Okay. Now the one thing I don't know, I guess it shouldn't matter. I don't know, if we're ending up using the intended version of Electron. I would think so. Because if it's failing, interesting, run OpenGL driver, init failed. Well, not gonna worry about that. Looks okay. Okay, so I believe we have an Electron development environment here that's working okay. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so the logseq code looks pretty well organized. I haven't dug into all of it too much, but if you go in here, you can see they already have some protocol handlers. So they have plugin URLs and they have static URLs. What's the static? I actually don't know. Static URL, stir LSP protocol. I see. So this is yeah, so these turn into, this would be LSP : // Let's see how these are used. So these are enabling loading of plugins and I think static resources. Starts with URL, plugin URL. So plugin URL. So does that mean this looks like logseq.io? I think so, right? So this is just going to be the protocol, which is the scheme plus the : // and that. And then the static looks like logseq.com. Interesting that that's how they're doing it. Whoa. Took LSP a while to fire up there. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Okay, so what they're doing for those is those are just resolving to, I think both of them resolve to local files. And what we want to do is have protocol handlers that turn, let's see, can I find Arweave? Oh, got a little too much there. Might stop sharing for a second. I think I'm going to stop sharing, open my R drive, and then resume sharing my screen. So I'll do that. Just do this. Okay. So I'm still here, but my screen is no longer shared. And I'm going to go to my R drive. I'm just trying to get some meaningful Arweave transaction ID so that we can test that the embedding is working. But I don't want to share share all of what I'm doing here because it involves entering usernames and passwords and such, which you probably wouldn't see, but why chance it? Okay, let me go back. I can enable it again. There we go. Okay, so let's see. I'm in R drive. I'm not super heavy R drive user, but you know, I want to put something out there. R drive is how I do it because it works really well, and it's let's see, copy the file ID. I think the file ID in R drive is an R drive specific thing. So let me see. Oops. Nope. Copy file ID. Yeah, that's R drive ID of some sort, probably a UID of some sort. Okay, so instead of that, let's get the data TX ID. So this should be an actual Arweave ID. So we should be able to just do arweave.net. Great, and that links to, of course, the most important paper to have on Arweave clearly is the history of closure. Okay, so let's take that and we'll go over to this and we'll just put history of closure. See, what's the full name? A history of closure. I'll put that here. And then we'll do AR colon, let's do this. So let's say this is Arweave URL version. So AR colon / may have, there we go, get that. So this is going to do nothing right now. So what we want to do is get that, and I'll do this version. This is just to check the behavior in Logseq. I actually am not sure what it does when you... Ooh, does that version not go anywhere? HTTPS. Why is that... Interesting. So do the... do external URLs not actually work the way I would hope? Let me close the dev environment and see what that does in regular old non-dev Logseq. Bloop. Okay, so that works. Interesting, interesting. So this may be harder to test than I'm hoping. And this one does nothing, I would assume. Can I no. All right, well we can at least see if it fires the handler the way we want, even if it's more difficult to test than I would hope. And of course we can inspect the DOM for this too, so. Okay, so if we go look at this right now, yeah, who knows what it does in the development environment. But I would expect that if we get it to look right in the DOM, actually no, does it replace it in the DOM? Probably not. Whatever. We'll figure out a way to test it, or at least see that it's hitting the handler okay. Okay, so let's find this. So let's inspect this one. So it's what you would expect, right? It's got the href there. It's pointing to that URL. And if we inspect this one, should be that. Yeah, interesting. Well, Electron noob here, so I don't know why why my clicking on it isn't doing what I would expect in the development environment. Oops, I should not close that. Okay, so let's go back to the logseek code. So we got this. We got the register file protocol. Okay, so let's take that and let's see here. I'm going to stop showing again for a second. I don't really want to share my personal to-do list on the stream. Probably blur that. I have a few links in there which I should have put in notes, but I did not, and they're just in my to-do list. So bloop, bloop, bloop. Close that. Stream again. Okay. So I have Electron docs open. I have some Stack Overflow and just a blog post here that I found trying to figure out how to do this. So they're using register file protocol. There's register other protocols, and I think the one we want is just a register HTTP protocol, which is going to look pretty similar, I think. Takes a scheme and a handler. Returns Boolean whether the protocol was successfully registered, registers a protocol scheme that will send a string as a response. The usage is the same as register file protocol, except that the callback should be called with either a string or an object that has the data property. And what is it called with here? By default, the scheme, let's see, the handler request should be called with either, I see, it turns into a path in this case. Okay. So I think what we want to do callback has a URL property. So we want to do URL. The scheme would be, I'll turn these all into constants too, but so the scheme is going to be AR, right? It's just that part. Yep. Request callback URL request underscore root. Don't need that. Starts with URL plugin URL. Okay, so this is just determining the root, which we don't need. Yeah, I'll just comment that for the moment. Okay, so the path. We do want the path. What's the path? JS decode URI component. What does that do? Previously created by encode. I see, I see. Okay. Yep, let's keep that. Okay, join path root path. So I think what we want here, wait, where does this come from? Unresolved symbol, join path. Okay, I don't follow. What am I missing here? I don't follow where the actual path is coming from in this case. What am I missing there? Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something on the... I see where the, the path prime, or whatever you want to call that. Oh, I did reshare, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, I see. Path is, okay, so, yeah, got it. So path is an object there. Okay, that makes sense. I was interpreting that as like a string join. So we want the root. Is this what we want to do? I think so. Arweave.net, path prime. Maybe call this URL. Oh, we're already using URL. I'll just stick with that. And so let's do this. So JS console.log, do the old console log debugging here. So let's do path prime. And see what that says. I think what we're probably missing here, I don't know if we actually want to do the path join, but I think we're probably missing the protocol on that. But let's see what it does. So if we go to this, possible event emitter memory leak detecting. Oh, exciting. Okay, so data script query. Neat. Now I wonder when this fires. Maybe when you click on it? I guess we could try some of these other currently implemented ones and see if we can, and I still have it set to file protocol. That's not what I want. I want what is it? I want the oh, where did I put it? This one? No, this one. Here we go. Register HTTP protocol. Okay, so register HTTP protocol. Okay. Now let's. Ooh, what was it warning me about? Probably just work in progress stuff there. No thanks. I'll do that later. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Interesting. Sync static seems to be working fine right now. At some point I'll debug that crash I was experiencing, but it seems okay at the moment. Okay, so now I do not know if it auto loads this or exactly how this works. Let's see. So let me click on that. Okay, so I do not see it firing right now. So if I reload the Electron app, do we see it? Welcome to LogSeq. Cool beans. Okay. Fascinating. Okay, so we don't see it. And Installing Sentry Logger. I must be using Sentry for... Wow. Source maps, maybe not loading. Let's put a log message in there that just tells us if it loaded at all. Okay. Let's do the classic JS console.log here. Actually, let's do 2 for that one, and then just the 1 at the top level. Okay. Oh, we got here 1. Okay, so it did load this. Interesting. Okay, so we got here 1. So it loaded the top level for sure. This one, I'll put it up here too, just in case. So let's see. Do we see that in here at all? Let's see here. Nope. Okay. Let's give this a shot. You know what we could do to test this, actually, just to see if another sort of check if it's working at all. Oh, interesting. What is this? Instrument, shortcut, core. I don't know what that one's doing. Is that could that be? Let's put another one in here. Let's do this one. So let's do here 3. Never be ashamed of your janky debugging. Embrace it. Okay. So this one, that message actually doesn't make sense where it was coming from. Front end module shortcut core. That is not this namespace, I think. You know, this is Electron core, so it's probably not coming from here. I don't know what that logging is. Formatters. Let me try filtering for something I know is there. So if I filter for core, do I find that message? Core. Yeah, what if I filter for shortcut? Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure my filtering is working the way I expect here, because there's a lot of logging here. So here, no, not seeing it. Okay, so another thing we could do, I would assume, the main thing I want to do is just see that this stuff is loading at all. So I would assume that if we mess with this, now stuff is not going to load, right? So we should see I would think we would see like broken icons and stuff. Oh wait, I saw here 1 and here 2. Okay, interesting. That change of assets did not break things the way I expected. So, not sure on that. Oh, but I bet that's I bet that is for embeds. That's probably what that's for. So like if I put a like an image in here. Okay, so we got here 1, we got here 2. We did not get here 3. which is interesting. What does that mean? Let's do this. So let's see, do we have any images? I just need any image. Any image will do. What about this? Copy image, sure. So if I were to put that image in there, okay, yeah. So that's broken. Okay, so good. So if I fix this, does that work now? Sorry, the fact that okay, it doesn't work unless I reload. So now does it work? Yes. Okay, so the handlers are definitely firing. Got here one, got here two. Let's do this. So if we know that this one is firing, what about... Okay, so I'm gonna make this one 3 and make this one 4. What I'm curious about is if we ever see this anywhere. Here one, here one. Interesting. Okay, it looks like we don't. I wonder why. Okay, so... Oh no, here 3. Okay, so we do see it. That's interesting. So we apparently are not seeing this one, register HTTP protocol. What if I were to change this to... let's do this. So we'll change, oops, not data, it's path. So we'll just make this a file protocol and see if it fires. Not what we want to do, but okay. So if we make that a file protocol, do we see it? Okay, so here 3. We made that file protocol and we don't see it. Interesting. What if... Now, it's possible that the reason we don't see it, I wonder if it's... Oh! New window. Okay. New window. Okay, so we have some events firing there. I wonder... What if we did this? So let's see, how does this look? So this is an embed. What if we take this one and do this with it? Okay, but do we get the thing firing in that case? Ah, wait, did I not? Ah. Empty graph path. What does that mean? Okay. So if something goes wrong in here, it could also be that. Yeah, let's put the logging further up, because it could be that some error is getting swallowed in there and we're just not seeing it. Okay, what do we got? Here 3, no, here 4. Fascinating. Okay, so this is... Oh, interesting. So actually, I realized that this... I don't fully understand. Let me look at the documentation again. Now, let's see. Let's look at this guy too. So this is saying protocol prefix to do. Open to do active. Yeah, interesting. This is actually trying to tell you how to do something slightly different, which is register these protocols for external access. But it does have this, which is the protocol, register protocol, HTTP protocol prefix. And then you get a request and a callback. So you get the request, we get the callback. This one's confusing to me too, because looking at, let me close this. That's not helping me at all. Looking at what Electron is doing here. So does this work? Let me do this, because I actually expected something slightly different with the assets, in the sense that I would have thought this would be like this. Does this work? No. Maximize image, delete this image. Fascinating. Okay. Register protocol. The protocol is the protocol object. We're taking the request, we're taking the callback. The protocol here is assets. The weird thing to me about this is that well, maybe it's just not what I expect in terms of so replace URL assets with nothing. The path. Yeah, interesting. Let's do this. So I'm just curious what this is being called on. Because I think that the assets are not working the way I thought either. I was expecting when I put the image in there for that to end up actually being an assets path, but it didn't look like it. It looked like it was just a relative path. So let's see. Home testing image. No, it is. Yeah, so that is the image that's in here. Assets image, that one. Okay, so let me go back to this one again. I actually wonder if the file, like trying to do it with the file, is messing me up. That may not work the way I think it does. We'll do that. I really just want to see that it fires, like see the fact that it got loaded at all. Even if here 3, no here 4. Yeah, so we are seeing it fire twice here. What if I do this? Assets. Does that work? Wow, interesting. Okay. Okay. Now I don't, that's interesting. So I don't fully understand why it fires for this one. But it is firing for both of those. Now this one, it's clearly not. Why? Why is it not firing for that? So we have is something broken? Okay. The scheme is AR. The thing I'm trying to figure out is, okay, so if it fires for this one, why would it not? Let me do this. We'll leave it as 4. Oops. Could be something stupid in here that's causing it to... Oh, wait. Unregistered protocol. Oh, am I... Let me do this. I don't know. I assume this is a... This is a callback that's done later, but who knows? Let's just do that, just in case that has some impact. Okay, so that did not did not impact it. Okay, so let's just boil this down to the simplest possible, fewest variables we can here. Okay, so that's putting it at the top. And let's do this too. So let's just take this whole thing. I'm just gonna do yeah, no, I'm just gonna do something stupid like that. So URL, it should be URL. Just trying to eliminate as many variables as possible to see if we can get this thing to fire at all. Unused binding request. Meh. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Quite possible that... Okay, so 3 fires, but still no 4. And just double checking here. Okay, so any difference, any substantive difference here. Let's call this foo.pdf. Let's call it, I don't know, it was called a PNG even though it's not. No difference. Interesting. So why? So we did make this into, what if we change it back to a file handler? This is definitely me trying to learn things about Electron that I don't know yet, as opposed to more Arweave specific. But hey, this is how it goes. Trying new stuff. Okay, 3-3. So just okay. Let's try just to do like sort of check that there's nothing silly about that. Okay, yep. So there must be some place I'm missing. There must be some other place these are declared, because what else could it be, right? This is really just boiled down to almost nothing here. And it's still not doing it, right? Because there can't be... Okay, so yeah. Another thing we could do, right? If I change, let's just get rid of this one. So this is just taking the one that's working. We know it's working. There could be some other knob I have to turn to get these registered. So I know that that one's working. Or was working. Okay, so it just doesn't fire at all. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to guess that this is not actually all I have to do, and that there's some other place I have to register these. Okay, work. Electron, source electron. Okay, so let's do assets. Actually not seeing it there. Remove handler, IPC, export, publish, handle. I wonder if it's in utils, recycle asset, plugin. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so this I'm wary of doing this too. Sets. Worst case here, I will implement it not quite working, and I'll submit a pull request and be like, logseq people, help me. Protocol assets. Yeah, that's interesting. So unless I guess another thing would be if it's something specific about AR : // that could be too. Let's try this. Because the thing is, I'm not seeing anywhere obvious. I guess I would have to reload that. I think it only does that the first time. Maybe. Go ahead and clear that. Here 3, here 3. Yeah, no, here 4. Arweave. Fascinating. So this is protocol, Arweave, console, callback. Also check this. Just do this guy. All right. Yeah. Yeah, there must be some place I'm missing. Let's try Arweave. Oops, not Arweave. Let's do what is this? This is probably like the generated source. LS plugin. LS plugin. That's interesting. Interesting. Oh no, I think that's yeah, I think this is for fascinating. Okay. I think that's part of the plugin interface. So that wouldn't do it. Here's this one. Let's look at this actually. So this make assets URL. That's interesting. I wonder. Okay, that makes me wonder if I wonder. Okay, so where is that called actually? Make asset URL. Extensions PDF block. Interesting. Asset link, RUM reactive. See, when or granted, util electron, then editor handle, make asset URL, href, reset source. Okay. Ooh, I'm also loading this up in Vim instead of NVim. Interesting. Yeah, I should probably be talking more here. So we're close. I don't think it's going to happen this stream. So what I may do is just try to make a pull request that has what I think this should look like, and then I'll get some input from the logseq folks, and they could probably point me in the right direction. I was more finding this; it looked pretty, pretty straightforward in terms of like, okay, here's all the protocol handlers, but clearly there's some piece of connection that I'm missing. It'd be interesting just to see for sure if this one fires too. Oops. We'll call this here 5, so we could put like that'd be for the LSP scheme. Yeah. So let's just put a did I close it? What did I do with it? I might have probably closed it. Okay. So I wouldn't have expected that one to fire since I have no plugins, but I wonder if I put in a, say, I mean, this is stupid, it shouldn't be an image, but we do a food.png and then LSP thinger. Does that fire? No. One thing that I also haven't done, let me do an inspect on this. So I'm curious if, so this one, okay, yeah, that one's assets. This one is not. Image. Load lazy source. Okay, that's interesting. So that is actually getting translated into an assets URL. So that would be why that's firing. So, okay. Let me look at this one. Lazy load. Okay. You know what? Okay. Well, that's really starting to make a little more sense. So some other munging is happening. Maybe that code I was just looking at. Okay. Fair enough. So for this one, let me go back. It's possible we're closer than I think. I gotta stop in a few minutes here for another commitment, but let me try this one. Arweave. Oops. I'm gonna close this. Don't think I have to, but I think something specific is going on with the images that's causing the paths to, or the yeah, it's making the URLs not what I would expect on the images. So new window arweave : //. Okay, that may actually be good. So if I remove, of course, I'm still not seeing this, which makes me suspicious. It could be. So what could be the case here is that we, instead of handling this via a protocol handler, what we actually want to do is transform the blocks. I bet that's the path. Maybe. So if I go in here and inspect this guy, oof, come on, really? There we go. Normal block. Oh, it's because I have it. Okay. Okay, it's because I had it selected. It's not going to let me. I do have the right href in there. External link. Yeah, I bet I need to translate this. Like, somehow intercept the block and transform it there. because my suspicion is what's happening here is that when I do it this way, what I would actually need is a system protocol handler, and that these URLs are just being passed by Electron to the system to open elsewhere. So let's go look at that assets thing again. What was that? FH make asset URL. Ooh, it wasn't that one. Maybe this one? Asset link. Image link. Okay. Okay. What about so what do we have here? Is components block. Okay, so we look like we're in sort of the right area. String of URL. Okay. That'd be a page reference. A nested link. Okay. Show link. Image HTTP link. Yeah, okay. Well, the first part of this I think was sort of a dead end in that those are doing things, I think those are sort of like internal to Electron, and actually what we need is to transform the blocks. Nested link, a page ref, a search. I mean, another option too is to add kind of a new type of, I mean, you could go a plugin route with this too, right? A PDF link. Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. No, this is looking promising. So this is, what is this? What is this? Inline. Plain space superscript subscript tag. I don't know what inline is. Map inline. Okay. Well, I think I'm on the right track here. The thing that's a question in my mind is whether or not you can hook into just the standard links and rewrite them. If you can, that should be pretty easy. If not, like the other way you could go with this is add a plugin that makes sort of a custom block thingy. Don't know what the right logseek terminology is there, but like a custom block thing that, yeah, these look kind of, well, I'll have to dig into it more. Make a custom block that basically functions as a link to Arweave. So a little bit of a I don't know, wild goose chase here or whatever euphemism you want to use, but potentially closer. I think next time I'll try to have this figured out, this part of it figured out ahead of time, and we can look into it. In all likelihood, I'll either figure out and write it before then, and I can just walk through it, or yeah, or we maybe end up waiting longer if there's more to it. Or I suppose, you know, if there's a plugin path, that would probably not be something I write ahead of time. So, I think this was perhaps a little less exciting than I hoped, but you know, I think things you could take away from this is it's not that hard to get started hacking on LogSeq, my environment issues aside, which like who knows what the Node VM things are, Node VM issues are. I don't know if that's due to NixOS or just something a little bit funky about doing the LogSeq watch. But anyway, it's pretty easy to get started with LogSeq development. You can get in there and start hacking fairly quickly. Once we find the right place to put the code, it's a fairly simple substitution. So, it's just going to be AR:TXID to HTTPS Arweave.net TXID. So the core of what we're trying to accomplish here is not complex. Finding out where to do it in the code was unfortunately more complex than I had hoped. And hopefully you got something out of following along with me trying to figure that out. Not exactly what I aimed for, but that's how it goes when you live stream these things. So thanks for tagging along. Next time, I would hope that we'll do some version of this that gets a little farther along, either walking through something I've already written or working on a plugin or something of that nature. And then I will probably do the things I had mentioned about the XTDB indexing as well, if we can get to it in the next one. So just keep those queued up, and thanks for hanging out with me today, and talk to you next time.